Good morning, this is Michael from NCY Store, and we're going to go ahead and redo our wire again because I guess I wanted to comment there. He's probably right. I probably need to maybe do a little better job. The connector is pretty damn shitty. So, and besides, I actually want to flip it around also. Knowing me, I just want to make sure things are right. So this is the guy's facing this way, and he has this little boot strap right here. I want his boot strap, the clear one, to also face the same direction, but I can't do that unless I remove all this, and this also gives a good chance to actually redo our connector there, see if we can actually improve on it. It's getting a little shorter and shorter as we go, but I think it's okay because this thing has a lot more slack. It still has like about at least 2 inches of extended slack that we can actually play with, and from this point of view it's definitely 2 more inches. From this guy here, he's about a good almost an inch, and probably like an inch and a half. So we still have some slack to play with, so we'll redo this, and we'll also see how strong our connection is. At the same time, we're also gonna, well, there's the result. I think I might got a little bit of the Sprite back. I think the only way to get this guy really clean and clear is probably buff him out. So I got a little buffer coming, a little McGuire or whatever compound. I think it's I'm not sure if it's called buffing or wax or something like that, but it's made to be able to use on freshly painted surface as well. So it's going to be pretty cool to check that out and actually see if that works really well. Hopefully our ideal is to get it from, actually this still doesn't look too bad compared to the other one, but it still has that little Sprite look, see? Still has a little Sprite on top, but it doesn't have too much here, which is good. But our ideal is to get it like, almost like this guy right here. So hopefully we can get just that nice little orange peel only and not so much like a soda spill result. But still not that bad compared to the last time. So it's still doable. It's still, I just don't like it. Look, there's a little, they call them sag marks here, or water drip. You can see there. That's from a little bit of overspray. Another thing I should have done is actually clean the spray tip. And I'm going to show you how to do that because I'm actually going to start tipping. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to start spraying this next one here. And this is actually our bottom belly. This is the Shamu I was telling you about. Killer whale, sort of. This is his bottom belly right here. So he will go in like this. And you can see where this fins here I was talking about. This is probably what's going to draw outside air and allow it to hit our oil cooler. So when it's going forward, fresh air is going to be shooting straight like this. You know, especially if you're riding without the Shamu even more. But we want to be able to protect him also from like debris and rocks and stuff. And then you have also a little underneath one where it's also open. So he'll get more air from there. It looks like Predator to me. Now, why do these things always remind me of certain movie characters? Okay, so here we go. So we have this, all these little fins here, and then this little guy right there. So when he's actually put on, see if I can come around a little bit. Try to get an idea. He's going to interlock with the top surface, so we might need to actually mount him when we actually mount sort of the backing plate. So let me see what I can do here. I probably get him over a little bit. I don't want to break anything because these are really light. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna try probably do this better with 2 hands just to make sure I protect it. So yeah, so you can see here there's a hole in here. There's a hole here. It goes pretty low, not that low, but I think it's enough there to bring our airflow to hit our radiator. So I was afraid this might actually get covered too much and the radiator is just gonna stay there stagnant air, but I think there's quite a bit of ventilation here coming through. The ventilation is pretty much straight. It doesn't have any kind of incline downward, you know, like your I guess your blinds or something when you open the shades. So it's actually just straight open like this. What you see is what you get. So even from the low point of view. So that's going to be our ventilation coming to it, and we're going to touch him up on some paint. Doesn't look like they really paint the inside. I mean, we probably won't need to paint the inside, but we definitely want to touch up on some of the scrap marks here that you can see. So we'll clean this out really well. I think it's already been cleaned. It just needs to blow off some of the dust. Wipe it down with some water before we start and dry it up first. And then this time we'll hit it with our enamel spray. But this time what you're going to do is you're going to swamp the tip. What I mean by that is you're going to take your enamel tip here. You can see how it's it sort of helps build a little bit of the gunk, but I believe that you can probably take it off. See if I can take it off. And you're going to swamp it with this guy temporarily. So see here, I can take it off and direct it outward just in case it decides to spray. Okay, so I'm going to pull it off. Can I? Yeah, it's stuck in there. It is stuck in there for a second there. So I'm gonna pull his head off. Fatality. Okay. Then we're gonna go and put this guy in. We're gonna put him in here like this, right? And then we're gonna give it a spray. I think he won't even reach, so you can't even do it. I can't push down. I don't know why they designed it this way. It's more taller. It might be to make sure it clears off this little bevel edge. It's probably for a reason of that, for more of a nicer spray, more of a lift. So you can see here, versus the original one. Well, if that's the case, no worries still. We're still gonna be able to clean it. It's just gonna be a little harder because we're gonna have to spray directly on it. Somehow get spray in there. So it's a good thing we took it off. You can see it's pretty clear still. Pull a clear shot. You can almost see the other end. It doesn't look like it actually stays on there. But it's just good to give it a nice little clear. So let's go and do that. Let's clear and let it set. Okay, so let's put this guy back in here. Make sure you put the arrow away from your face because that's where it normally would squirt. Now this guy might want to squirt because we're going to put some more down pressure on him. So let's bring him outside to do that. There we go. He's okay now. Alright, so let's go ahead and give him a spray to clean out his tip. And I should have done this again before. So what we'll do is we'll spray him on here and then we'll take him off as well. There you go. See all that gunk? If you really want to clean the can too, you can. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the tip off. Okay, and then we'll leave the tip soaking in here, this stuff. Alright, just leave them in there. Leave this whole deal in here. Okay, this is going to be without a cap for a second. That's fine, because we're going to prepare for that guy. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and fix our wire worker to make it look sync. And hopefully we can get some better comment there about our wire work. So yeah, let's do this. I mean, we're going to test out, and I'm going to give it a tug and see if it actually even comes off, for one thing. If not, we'll snip it off. So here we go. And then we're gonna make our own little vise. We should be able to do it pretty much from all the jack stand and the little clamp, the metal clamp that we got. We'll take off this rubber boot. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna give it a tug, okay? Yeah, that shit is not coming off. Okay, so it's not coming off. So that means we gotta cut it off. So here we go. We're gonna get some snipes. We're gonna cut off. And also let's see if this tip actually comes off with a strong tug. So let's see it. I'm gonna pull it. See if I'm pulling it. I'm stretching it. I'm not really doing it any justice. So yeah, this thing is a really good solid connection. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to cut it off and redo it because we want to make sure it's facing a certain aesthetic way. So yeah, let's do that. Let me go and bring the tools again. What we'll need our little micro propane torch. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with this guy now. But I'm not sure. I still might want to use a lighter for that situation, but we'll see. And let's go ahead and get try and find it now. Okay, here goes the heat shrink. We're gonna need a bunch of heat shrink for it as well. If I find the heat shrink underneath here. I think that's about it. We just need pretty much another one of these guys. Hopefully we get a good one that melts right away. I think the burning part was actually from the insulator of those other ones that would probably create ashes. That's why you see I was able to wipe it down, because it wasn't really burning this thing. It was actually burning the insulator of that wire here, right here, these guys. So that's probably the reason why I was able to wipe it cleanly. But yeah, this is a freaking strong connection. So you'll see me, I'll have to forcefully cut it off. So it's good. That way we can test it out too, to see, because especially when we're doing it the first time, we want to make sure that, you know, we did our best there to actually secure it. So yeah, the only reason why I'm really taking it off is to make sure that I face this guy here the same as the black one. I can't move the black one because he already has, well, maybe I can. No, he has a little special thing already on here, so he's good to go. He's solid. You know, it's from the factory. And he already got his own tip. He's got his own little, what do you call that, little, what do you call it, butt connectors? Not butt connectors, but little push-on connectors already in there. So he's just solid. We're gonna keep him. We'll leave him alone. But we have to. I wish I just caught that before I did it. That way I can rearrange this exactly. So I'm gonna have to flip this whole wire around. We're gonna put the tip on this end, and we're gonna join the new one, the butt connector, on this end. So it's gonna reverse. So it gives us the opportunity to actually learn how to resolder. And I realize now we can actually. Why don't we clip the tip down? Right here. We'll set it up. We're gonna clip the tip down, and then we're gonna really see. Sorry, just dragged my power cord here off. I had it locked in. Okay, so here we go. See, there's our little solder there. Look at that, flicked right off. So we're gonna put this guy here, but we want to make sure we do it in a way where we can actually reach the wire. So we might have to put them in really close, but we don't want to be too close to anything else because we don't want to start burning. So I think this will be good. We'll build a C-clamp. We'll build a C-clamp right here. And how we build a C-clamp is pretty much use a C-clamp. Or we'll build a vise with a C-clamp. So here we go. And it doesn't really take that much to hold a little light tip, you know what I mean? We're just holding it, have it stabilized so we can actually pretty much solder field it, as they say. So where is my C-clamp? I had a whole bunch here, or I had it here. Not a whole bunch, but I had one. We use it to, remember, tighten the brakes. Oh, here it goes. Just laying out here on the side. Laying casually cool. And then we'll use this guy here. We won't use the plastic one. We need rubber good. His boot fell off already. We're going to take one more boot off anyway. There we go. We'll scrape the boot off. All right. So here we go. All we're going to do is just going to C-clamp one side or whichever one is convenient. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me bring my tripod, see how I have it. Or I can just put it back here. That way you guys can see me attempt to C-clamp this guy. Put it back in the charger. And since our phone's probably going to be recording inside most of the time, we'll probably get a little longer recording than last time. I did forget to actually erase the old video. Oh, I can actually, because I forgot. I didn't transfer to my computer yet. I usually save all my archive videos so I can make sure I have a backup. I can always re-download it from YouTube, but I think it's recorded and YouTube changes the resolution when they actually upload it, even though it's 1080p. I believe so, I don't know. Okay, let me go and get this guy stationed. Try to anyway. It's got a lot to move here. There you go, he's stationed. I'm going to swing him, put him back in this charger here, because the charger's hooked to this one. That's why it's putting a lot more weight on his head. But it beats me having to drop the charger, so it's actually stationed on the tripod, so it's more better. Okay, so here we go. We're going to C-clamp this. So I'm just going to use a little C-clamp. We can probably, you know, get out of the way somewhere. Let's see. This whole thing would come off, so, right there. So you can raise it up high as you want. So I'm just going to do is I'm going to C-clamp it, that way you guys can see it. And then I'm going to drop them back down. And I believe we can make sure we have enough pressure to be able to push. And I think we do. Okay. I guess you want to use something like a little bit more heavy duty kind of a structure here to help, you know, heat sink just in case it doesn't get hot, the tool area. So there we go. We got C-clamp. I can face this down so it won't put no weight pressure on him coming. Okay, this is our pretty much our light vise setup here. There we go. I'm tightening it down. Driving it on one side. Excellent. It works. Okay, so I'm going to drop it. There we go. Watch. See there? Now we have a built-in vise. Alright, so here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to put a tip in there. And let me see if I can get a tip. We've got plenty, right? Guess we can pick a new tip out here. So let's go ahead and get a nice tip there. If I remember it, it's not this big one because it has such a big diameter. Eyelet. That's that one. I think that's what they call it too. Eyelet. I call it a tip. So here we go. I think this is the one here, the smallest one. that we can use. And it says right here, let's get the resolution there for you. See there? So it's actually perhaps for a 6-gauge wire, I believe. Maybe, because it's so big, right? And we're using it on a 14-gauge wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually mount the tip. We're going to actually hold it like this. So instead of having, remember we had all those little solder dump, I call it? Well, we're not going to have solder dump no more because we're facing in the same direction. In fact, we can even probably put a little bit, oh, look at this one. This one's freaking sealed. What's the deal with that one? They didn't even give us any, what do you call that, inspection hole. Look at that. They might have tried to. It's like right there. Excuse me. So there's probably no way we can come from the top. Not on this one anyway. I mean, I know solder becomes almost like very liquidy, almost like water, but that's just enough there to actually hold it, so we don't have to worry. I was gonna say there was a like for instance, there was the other ones here. Let me see if I can find another one of these small ones. I mean, this is cool. We don't really need the one that it has the peephole, but if it did have, I think it's the same one here. So here you can see this one here, same size, same everything, same eyelet. Okay, same terminal hole. See there, perfect, the same. Excuse me, getting a head cold maybe. All right, here we go. Oh, this says something different. It's weird that these are all be consistent because they're from the same order batch. Okay, so this says 6 still, SC, but I guess they changed it. Well, you can see here they made the eyelid. This one, they gave you a little bit bigger eyelid. That's for sure compared to this one here. The eyelid is like an inspection hole. Now, if you have a bigger eyelid, you can actually put your wire underneath like this. Heat this guy right here. Just heat the tip. Don't try to get into the insulator or aim at the wire. Just aim at the tip, the back area here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drip your solder. If your solder gets hot enough and it feels it right there, it should flow right in there and fill your wire. That's what we were trying to do originally, but unfortunately we never had a solder the size of an angel hair thinness to be able to fit into this guy. And now this guy doesn't even have it, which is probably better for us. But I'll show you anyway. I'll do it with this one, even with the open eyelid. It's not going to come out much. So when you fill it up and you start seeing actually a little bit excessive dripping out, that means you know your solder is extremely hot and extremely full. So you can actually start putting your wire in there. We're going to dunk it. We're going to take the wire and dunk it inside like this, in it, versus taking this, which creates solder dump when we pour it out. Like last time, we had a couple of trials and error there. So let's go ahead and prep this up here. We're not going to do this right away. We're going to actually get the two started in that wire first. But we'll prep this up so when we do it, we'll have it ready. So that's it. We're going to hold like this. We're going to heat it like this. Heat it away from the bike frame, away from the wires. We'll probably go this way, whichever. Let's see. There we go. So I'll probably heat it like this right here. That way it's away from the bike frame and away from the bike. But the reason why I need to bring it closer, because the minute it's warmed up enough, we're going to have to actually get this guy even closer, because we need to actually take him for it. We have to bring this wire over here when there's actually just a regular terminal. We're going to need to bring it and then dump it in there, you know. So we need to get it still closer. I mean, we can carry this over. It takes us less than 2 seconds to bring it over, but it's good to have it while it's still hot. And that way, when you dunk it in, you probably won't have to reheat it. If we need to reheat it, we'll reheat it. But that'll prevent if we reheat it, we'll prevent our wire from burning. So let's do that attempt. That we kind of learned something from yesterday's event. I mean, I didn't think about that until I watched the video. I'm thinking, why not bring the other way? Put the tip in there, because that way you don't have any solder dump. And do the other way. You don't catch yourself doing something wrong until you actually see it again. Sometimes you gotta learn from your mistakes. So I'm hoping to learn more. Here we go. So let's go and get started and correcting this wire work here. This little expedition here. So we're gonna go ahead, since we can't pull this out, we're gonna have to cut it out. See, I'm giving it a good tug. I'll try to pull it out again. That way you guys can see me really yank it. I hope they're not damaging the other wires as the process of doing it. I'll bring even the big, huge puller, okay? That way you guys can see how strong it is. And definitely it's not the insulator that's actually holding it together. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna try to, in fact, here, I'll grab it from the insulator so I won't damage most of my wires here. Or I'll grab her here from the wire, okay? If we're gonna cut it, we're gonna cut it. Okay, here we go. See, I'm almost breaking my own tie strap, which I don't want to do. So yeah, look at that, how much shoot I put on the wire already. So, yep, that's it. So the only way to do it is cut it. So I guess we're aiming for, I guess maybe more, well, we're gonna give more slack to this side because he needs it. So we're gonna cut this guy. This is the one that has the hole built in. It's not gonna cut too well. In fact, here, let's get a clean cut wire, clean cut tool here. I want to do just one time. One epic move here. Okay, so we're gonna cut this out. I think there's a bead here. There's a water sealant bead. So maybe we can go. Let's try to go before it. There we go. It's cut. No turning back. There it is. Okay, there's the wire here. I can even tug it right here for you. See, it's not coming off. It's there. It's just permanent. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this guy here, and we smushed him here already, so we might as well finish him here, and then we're gonna take a nice strip here. So this is about a good 1 inch away from it anyway. I think it is. If not, then we'll trim the other one accordingly. So we still have to work 2 tips anyway. I mean 2 ends. So look at that, just shot right out. In fact, here, why don't we take a look and see what's inside of it after we did our drastic there. So you can see the connection's solid. I felt it was solid, but I just want to double check it. All right, here we go. Sorry, just had to give it a little fresh snot out in the open breeze. You know how that goes. We're boys. Okay, here we go. Oh man. Guess a change of weather maybe, I don't know. It's getting warm, cold, warm, cold. That gets you sick pretty damn quick. Okay, so wow, look at this. Nothing yet to be impressed. Let me cut some more. See what's the deal inside these things. Okay. I wish I could just peel this guy. That's what I'm trying to do. It doesn't come off that easily. This is a good thing, huh? You don't want too cheap of a material. It just peels off easily. Let me go get a needle nose. Yeah, I feel like I got a little bit more leverage for the needle nose. Okay, go give it a turn. I guess the more you do something, of course you're going to get better at it because you're realizing what not to do. That's from experience. I put all my what not to do on camera too so I can learn from my own mistakes. Literally. Alright, here we go. So you can see there, this part right here has not even budged away from each other. So this was part of the copper one from our original wire harness. And then this is our, fuse adapter wire. The 14 gauge, 12 gauge. I believe it's 12 gauge, and the fuse adapter might have been 14 gauge. But yeah, luckily these open and see the strands. There we go. Wait, you can't see it, huh? So I get a resolution shot on that. Wait, my resolution decides to take a break on me. Yeah, but there you go. Not too bad, not too good, but yeah, but it's a solid connection though. We know next time that thing is not going to fall out by mistake. All right, so let's get started and get this out of the way because we still got plenty of other stuff to wrap up on. Okay, so we're going to do is splice this wire again. Let me see if I can peel some of this off. I could probably slide it off now. See, look how weird that is. Funky, huh? So hopefully we'll still keep the insulation like this. I mean, it worked for us, but just made a really char texture, and it confused us a little bit. Maybe that's what prevented from even finalizing and burning the thing, but I don't know that's really the true case. So let's go ahead and splice this wire. I believe he is a 12 gauge and this one's a 14, because actually when I looked at the video I didn't really show you. It's very light imprint. You might not see it, especially with the resolution not active right now. AGW14. Let's see if I can bring the resolution back on here. Okay, I can't get the resolution, I apologize. But it's very light lettering. It'll say like right here, you can see a little bit of darkness. But yeah, this is a AWG14. It's a 14 gauge wire. Okay, so 14 gauge wire. Look at our tool here. This is probably a 10, 12, and then 14 is the third one. But I believe we use the 13 one because this is an old tool. So let me go back to the 14 one because I really want to get the most thread out of it. Even though you're thinking why, because it didn't even do you much good. So I'm going to take only about maybe a centimeter. It doesn't really need to, because it's not going to allow us to get that deep anyway. So I'm going to see, there go. I sometimes go with a lower one, especially the older tool, because sometimes the older tool is kind of, you know, misaligned anyway. But that way I assure that I will get. So instead of using the 14 gauge crimp, I use the 12 one, and then make sure I get all the strands, because I'm like that. I want to make sure. Oh, what am I doing? You don't want to spiral it. You're gonna mash it. Okay. Now, am I doing this again? Opposite. Yeah, I am. I'm about to do the same thing again. I was about to reconnect this little hook there, opposite of this guy here again. And what's the point of doing that? But that's okay. We spice this open anyway, because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to please the other comment there. I'm going to tint this as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and dip it into my little soldering. I don't think there's a real need for it yet, but let's see if that actually, you know, we'll learn something. It makes it improve. We'll tint this with solder, right? We probably won't use the flux. I really hate that sticky stuff. So we'll find out if maybe it's just cheap flux I got from the hardware store. And then, of course, we're going to spice this off. But let's go ahead and test this out to see if how strong this bad boy is. So I hate to, you know, lose these tips. These tips can get pretty costly. These copper tips. If you buy them at the hardware store in pieces, they're a little bit more expensive. Almost like, golly, almost a couple dollars a tip, or $1 at least minimum. So I think I got them in the bulk, so it was a little cheaper for me. But still, I'm sure it's at least a quarter a piece. I'm just throwing away a quarter right now easily. It could have been put to some better use, right? But that's all right. This is it. Yeah, I can't really yank it out, but let me go and get the big plier and see if I can force it out again. Oh. Gotta yank the plier out of the plier. There we go. All right, here we go. We're gonna do the jerk test. Ready? Full force there. See, that is a freaking good connection too as well. So there's no problem with the connections here. They are freaking strong. Let me go and peel out the insulator. So if it was a cold solder, you would probably see it already just come off. I mean, cold solder just looks pretty. Looks like you did a great job and everything, but it's false. It gives you false idea that it actually has a good, you know, what it is the thread. The thread is actually heated with the solder, so they're really intertwined. I mean, they're just like melted together. A cold solder is just a solder appearing to glaze it over, and is not really eating into the thread. There's no heat in the thread that allows the solder actually seeping through its pores. There's pores inside your thread as well. So when the solder gets into the pores, because it's heated, everything opens up with heat, right? Expands. So that's why solder can actually get into those little thread pores and actually create little teeth, and it just launches on. So if it's a cold solder, it just looks pretty. It just goes on. You got a little nice glazed bump of solder, depending on what kind of solder you use. And then actually, you can flick it off, just like I did with the center. I mean the jack there. You remember that little solder dump? That's a cold solder that just landed, because the jack wasn't never heated enough to actually open its pores for the solder to actually seep in. I could just flick off that solder dump. So that's the difference. That's the same logic here. So anyway, I'm not too much of an expert on soldering, but that's just basic points of why it, you know, will bond much better when things are heated. You want the solder to actually flow to the heat. You don't want to move the heated solder onto a cold surface and expect it to actually pretty much glue your two parts together. It won't happen. Okay, so let's take off this insulator. And I mean, this is a damn good insulator too. And again, thanks to the well, thanks for APM for sharing. But one thing is, thanks for you know, the what do you call that, the mini micro torch there, it does work much better than the lighter. It burns evenly and doesn't actually roast your insulator. So a lot of my electrical and wiring work, I gotta give a lot of credit to Tony Myers. He's from APM Scootering. I wouldn't know any of this stuff, from how to use a voltmeter to you know, electrical wiring work. So all the good points that I got from him is the one that you guys see. Anything that I tried on my own, trial and error, you can't give that much downplay to him, because he didn't really advise me to do that. I did that on my own will, trying to figure out, you know, shortcuts, and it turned out to be the long cuts. The 3M as well, it's got to give it out to APM Scootering. The guy's been a really good a friend. I mean, we share a lot of things. From one thing, we both have a back brace issue, and then we have a Zenith scooter. I copied him from the Benjing 5-star. So a lot of things, I gotta give a lot of credit to that guy. He's a really cool guy with his wife in the camera. I don't know her name, but I'm sure she's a really nice gal. It looked like a good couple. They live out in Pennsylvania in the freezing weather, and that's the reason why he's not able to put out so much videos. One thing is because of his back situation. Another thing is it's freaking cold, and I don't blame him. Even this kind of weather, it's very hard to work with. I imagine what you know, 3 feet of snow or plus can do to you. So yeah, you can see here, look, it's freaking solid on there. Oh man, look at that. Now what we could do is heat this up, and I'm not sure if I want to reuse old solder, but I probably can maybe get away with it. You guys want to try it out and see? We'll save this. Well, how to save it is we'll actually have to cut it, because we have to cut it for the other one anyway. So I'm not sure how much wire we need yet, so we'll do this. We'll just cut it here. Actually, we'll cut it a little bit more, because we need to free up the other side. Now it's getting a bit lesser and lesser, because you need a way to pull out the wire, right? To extract the wire out. So we'll leave a little bit here just to pull out the wire when we heat it, and see if we can actually reuse the tip. I mean, it has full of solder ready for us, like almost a little bit extra work done already. Okay, let's go ahead and get this tip cranked out. So we have a 12 gauge. I'm sorry, this is, yeah, higher than the number, so the thicker it is. This is a 14 gauge, so 14 gauge, but I'm still gonna, well, like I did the other one, like I told you, I'm gonna aim it for using the 12 gauge slot, because this is again, this is an older wire splice, and I just feel more better just using an old one. Now, is this too small, or is this too small? I think this was enough to feed into a tube and nothing more. So I think this might work. Just a little centimeter, really, not a lot. Because again, we couldn't really force a lot anyway in the tube. So we'll probably not. Okay, let's go ahead and spice this guy up here.